I'm going to space on a rocket in a capsule called Tortoise. And my mom calls me Tortoise.
Okay, I'm gonna show you the capsule that we have been training in for the last few days.
Command engine start. Liftoff.
Dick,
Yeah.
take a look out of starboard.
Oh my God, it looks like a...
Got it? 1, 2, 3, taking up space!
In 1961, Yuri Gagarin risked everything to become the first human to journey into the void of space, forever etching his name into humanity's greatest achievements. 6 decades later, Katy Perry took a 12-minute suborbital joyride and called it historic. The stark difference between these two events reveals everything wrong with how we perceive celebrity achievements today, and the media machine that transforms wealthy tourists into supposed pioneers. When news broke that 6 female celebrities, including pop star Katy Perry, TV personality Gayle King, and Lauren Sanchez, Jeff Bezos' fiancée, had completed a Blue Origin spaceflight, media outlets tripped over themselves to declare it a watershed moment in human history. Headlines everywhere proclaimed the historic all-female flight, with reporters on the ground breathlessly documenting this supposed milestone. But was anything about this brief excursion actually deserving of such grand terminology? Let's be clear about what actually happened. These women weren't astronauts completing a mission, they were passengers on what amounts to an extremely expensive carnival ride. Their entire journey, from liftoff to touchdown, lasted less than the runtime of a typical sitcom episode. They underwent minimal training, performed no scientific experiments, and contributed nothing to space exploration. Yet the coverage suggested they were breaking barriers on par with Marie Curie or Ada Lovelace.
All of them were they? You think they were like prepared to die? No.
Katy Perry was prepared to die.
Yeah,
That's why
in
brought
her
the daisy.
eyes, something's off.
She looked like a soldier.
The preparation for this landmark achievement provided early warning signs of the absurdity to come. In an interview with Elle magazine before the flight, Perry proudly announced, "Space is finally going to be glam. Let me tell you something, if I could take glam up with me, I would do that." Just imagine Neil Armstrong uttering those words before setting foot on the lunar surface. Contrast between the gravity of actual space pioneers and the vapidity of celebrity space tourism couldn't be more stark. The media spectacle reached peak absurdity when cameras captured Oprah Winfrey openly weeping as she watched the launch. Tears streamed down her face as if witnessing the moon landing or some other genuinely transformative moment, not a group of wealthy friends enjoying an expensive thrill ride funded by one of the world's richest men. The Associated Press reporter covering the event gushed about the women feeling all the feels as they teetered on the edge of history. But what history exactly were they making? Upon returning to Earth after her brief journey to the edge of space, Perry seemed to believe she had undergone a profound spiritual transformation. It is the highest high, and it is to surrender to the unknown. I couldn't recommend this experience more. This is like up there with all the different tools that I've learned in my life, from meditation to the Hoffman process, she declared, adding that she felt really connected to that strong divine feminine right now. The famous explorer Sir Edmund Hillary once said of climbing Everest, "It is not the mountain we conquer but ourselves." Perry, meanwhile, found her brief tourist jaunt was about really finding the love for yourself. What makes the historic label particularly galling is how it erases the genuine female pioneers of space exploration. In 1963, 60 years before this celebrity excursion, Soviet cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman in space, completing 48 orbits of Earth during a 3-day solo mission that required actual courage, training, and skill. Since then, dozens of women have served as actual astronauts, conducting scientific research, repairing satellites, and commanding space stations. NASA astronauts Christina Koch and Jessica Meir performed the first all-female spacewalk in 2019, a genuinely historic achievement that required years of training and genuine expertise. The truth behind this groundbreaking flight is far more mundane. A group of wealthy, connected celebrities got to experience something extraordinary because one of them is engaged to Jeff Bezos. They weren't the first women in space. They weren't even the first female tourists in space. They weren't the first all-female crew. They weren't a crew at all, they were passengers just like you are when you board a commercial flight, except their ticket cost considerably more. The experience of viewing Earth from space is undoubtedly profound. Astronauts have long described the overview effect, a cognitive shift in awareness that comes from seeing our fragile blue planet suspended in the blackness of space. Even a brief taste of this perspective must be incredible. But we shouldn't confuse having an amazing personal experience with making history. This pattern extends beyond space tourism. We've entered an era where the bar for what constitutes historic, brave, or revolutionary has been lowered to accommodate celebrity activities that would otherwise be unremarkable. A wealthy person trying something new isn't breaking barriers, they're exercising their privilege. What's perhaps most troubling about this phenomenon is how it diminishes actual achievements. When everything is historic, nothing is. When the media treats Katy Perry's 12-minute suborbital flight with the same reverence as the Apollo missions or Valentina Tereshkova's pioneering journey, it devalues the genuine courage, sacrifice, and significance of those earlier accomplishments. Space tourism itself isn't the problem. As technology advances, experiences once reserved for the elite few will become accessible to more people. That's progress. Problem is the breathless coverage that transforms tourist activities into supposed milestones for humanity, particularly when those tourists happen to be celebrities. Next time you see headlines declaring a celebrity has done something historic, ask yourself, will future generations study this moment? Has anything meaningful changed as a result? Or is this simply an extraordinary experience available to those with extraordinary wealth and connections? By maintaining perspective on what constitutes genuine achievement, we honor the true pioneers who pushed boundaries not for Instagram moments or branded merchandise opportunities, but to expand human understanding and capability. While Katy Perry and her fellow passengers enjoyed their brief journey to the edge of space, and they absolutely should enjoy such an incredible experience, the only thing truly historic about their flight was the unprecedented level of media hype for what amounts to an extremely expensive roller coaster ride. Perhaps that's the real story here, not what happened 66 miles above Earth, but how we on the ground have lost all sense of proportion when it comes to celebrating achievement in our celebrity-obsessed culture.